you've ever been green with jealous rage at the gun tubers out west who can just walk off into the mountains and shoot at trash whenever they want, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But in all seriousness, please, I'm going to start this video off by saying, before I get started, please shoot us a subscribe. We got a lot of traction on our last video. Got up to 6,000 subscribers and super appreciative of that. But we do need to continue to grow so that we can reach a further audience. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. And once I get to 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a Unity Fast T2 mount valued at about $220 to the first person in the comments who tells me a quick and dirty story about their week. Something nice. Tell me something nice to you that happened this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so today we are going to talk about becoming deadly in the Southeast. All right, so a lot of the videos that cover this kind of subject are from the point of view of people that are not necessarily in the same environment as a large portion of the Americans watching it, right? So we've got coverage out west, lots of coverage out west. Let's give our down south boys a little bit of love with this video today. So let me go ahead and doff my kit and we'll go ahead and talk about it. The equipment that we're covering today is going to be able to last you about 3 days, self-sustaining equipment, but could also flex into other roles, okay? So having equipment that does everything pretty well is better than just having a whole bevy of equipment that does a couple things very well, at least in terms of finances, right? So if you don't have the United States government backing you and making your purchases for you, you're going to have to be a little bit more discerning about your purchases. And in that case, I've gone ahead and built out the rig that I'm going to be showing you today. So we're going to go ahead and set the bag aside for now, and we're going to start with the belt kit. And maybe we'll do a quick shout out to the rifle. So shout out our Block 2 boys out there. My last video, we did the Marine Force Recon build, and then recently upgraded over to a Block 2, still keeping the front sight post set up, but this is an all Colt upper, and I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So I could cover that in a later video, but this is the rifle that we would be rocking in this context. In terms of the kit, we have built a kit with the intent of traversing difficult terrain in the southeastern United States. This also applies to things like jungle warfare, but it can even flex into roles like an assaulter on the front lines of Ukraine, for instance, conducting trench assaults, okay? So the rig that I built, I went ahead and built a belt rig, which are all the rage these days. They've been popping up all over the place, and it piqued my interest. As somebody from the GWAT period, I had a little bit of training in belt kit with Alice kit when I was younger, and quite frankly, I hated it. I wanted it off me as quick as possible. I was so ready to switch over to the IBA and the IOTV, and later on actual just plate carriers, I believe, like Tac Taylor, stuff like that. But as time has gone on and we have started to return to form as battlefields have evolved. So we're no longer in that counterinsurgency role where you can be walking around in full body armor, full panoply all day, every day. There are environments out there that do not lend themselves well to usage with body armor, but at the same time, I wanted to be able to scale up into body armor if need be, and that's where a belt kit comes into play, because I can throw on this, I can throw my AVS right over it, and then I've got the belt kit integrated with the AVS and all of the capabilities that that brings. So we'll go ahead and we'll start from stage left, move our way to the right over here. On my left-hand side, we're going to be carrying 3 extra magazines. Now, the main focus of these 3 magazines in this context is going to be for breaking contact. So if we're in some type of reconnaissance type role, you're going to expend at least 4 magazines just in the act of breaking contact, right? This isn't the movies. You have to get rounds downrange to suppress the enemy, keep their heads down, and the smaller the element is, so say a 3 or 4 man reconnaissance team, the Army, when I was younger, we used to field 4-man reconnaissance teams of scout observers, in which I was a senior scout observer. And in that role, 4 men need to have additional firepower and additional capability to break contact because they don't have that higher echelon covering them. They don't have the additional support, right? So they might have ISR, you know, or some close air support on standby, but in terms of being able to break out of that situation, you're going to need to carry a little bit of extra ammunition. One of the philosophies of chest rigs is to lessen the load on the person and to give you a little bit additional ventilation and a little bit more ergonomics. The belt rig is not necessarily about lessening the load that you're carrying so much as it is about evenly dispersing that load, making it a little bit more comfortable for you, and it's got so much more ventilation in it that it's a much better option for your hot weather environments. So you carry extra ammunition in order to kind of offset that weight savings that you get from not wearing armor. You're not really saving that much weight because you're carrying more ammo, right? So we'll move over to, this is a, this pouch right here is B's Combat Systems, by the way. It's their universal mag pouch. Very cool. It can be either 2 or 3 M4 mags. It's got a little cinch on the side, and it also fits AK mags well, which little sneak preview, we might be doing an AK video soon. So I wanted to have something that could accommodate those magazines. The next pouch down is going to be a Spiritus GP Small. Now, this pouch is meant to carry some of my extras. All right, so we've got a signaling mirror here, and we've got some face camo. I thought about doing face camo for the video, but the fact of the matter is I have to return to society when we're done making this video, and I don't want to go out there looking like a bum, so I'm not wearing face camo. But I do advise that everybody keep a camo compact on their equipment, ready to go, in one of their pouches. And then the signal mirror is not really for signaling so much as it is for applying your makeup. And then always carry a multi-tool in your kit for sure. This one is the Leatherman Rev. It's one of their smallest multi-tools. Gets the job done. Coming into the kit, we do have 2 additional magazines inside this pouch. So right now, right off the bat, we've already met our kind of 6-7 magazine minimum with 1 in the gun, 3 here, 2 here. We've got 6 ready to go, all right? And there will be more ammo to follow. And then inside here, got ourselves a little watch cap. Okay, multicam little beanie right here. Now for the southeast, during this time of year, it is permissible to have something like a beanie or a watch cap because it does still get kind of cold at night. But this is definitely one of the first things that you can delete from your kit as the warm months go on. This next pouch, this is a Cry Precision large GP tall. This is their 249 pouch. One of the things that I forgot to mention was that I also wanted to have a rig that could double as a machine gunner rig. So the Spiritus Smalls do fit 100 round machine gun nutsacks for 249s. These will fit 200 round drums, but in this case, this is my signals. This is going to be my signals pouch. So these are additional tools that can help us later when it comes to breaking contact. We've got our large VS17 panel, so this is more kind of for your military-oriented folks watching this. You're going to need one of these to signal aircraft and friendly units for IFF, identifying friend or foe. And then a lensatic compass, the same one I've featured before. This is my My timeless lens added compass, it still works great even after 15 years. And then a map, as well as the associated markers in there for the map. Next is going to be your butt pack. So the butt pack is kind of, to me, I look at it as a for more of your luxury items and more of your sustainment type items. All right, so I don't want to carry all of my food on me on my belt kit, because that starts to get heavy. And if you have to flex into assaulting or setting up a hasty ambush or something like that, I don't really want to be running into battle with multiple MREs on my back. However, you can go ahead and you can fit maybe one meal in there, like a separate from the packages. That way, if you get separated from your element for an extended period of time, you've got some calories to keep you going. Inside the butt pack on the top, I have it layered onto the top, Outdoor Research rain jacket. So I've had this rain jacket for a couple years and it served me very well. Gore-Tex, you could use a normal military issued Gore-Tex as well. They're pretty much the same thing. We've got our meal right here. And then underneath that, an Orc Industries PCU. This is their level 4. So it's a really lightweight windbreaker that's just something to put on at night when you're pulling watch and you need a little bit of additional warmth, but you don't want to overheat yourself by putting on something like a rain jacket or a heavier jacket. And then for hydration, 4 liquid IV multipliers, hydration multipliers. So those 4 should be able to get you through 2 days. For every bottle that you drink that's got one of these liquid IVs in it, you'll want to drink an additional bottle of water. So we're looking at about 4 liters of water right here. And the reason why I keep the rain jacket layered on top is because these pouches are permeable. Water will ingress into these pouches, and I want to keep my PCU dry. So your little windbreaker can pile up underneath that, and it just creates an additional barrier to the elements, kind of keep that a little bit dry for you, prevent water ingress. So we've gone over magazine, we've gone over GP, we've gone over our signals pouch and our butt pack. We're going to go over right here, water. So when it comes to the southeastern United States and the southern United States in general, we have hellishly difficult summers, and you need to take that into consideration when it comes to how you plan on carrying your water. I generally recommend carrying at least 3 to 4 liters of water on the body. So we've got 32 ounces right here, and I have been, let's take a quick break actually to go ahead and hydrate. Yeah, right behind it, we got a Sawyer mini filter. These are pretty cool because you can go ahead and you can fill them up as you go, and then you can squeeze through the filter and into your water bottle. You can carry a larger, more cumbersome filtration system, but that's when you start getting into team-sized elements. You know, when you've got a team of guys, cross-loading all of the extra luxuries, if you will, can become a necessity. So if I was rolling alone, this is going to have to be sufficient. But if I was rolling with a team, I'd consider looking into MSR's offerings so that you can actually filter larger volumes of water, maybe when you set up a patrol base or an OP and you have the time to do so. Moving over, we do have on the bottom, we've got a glove holder. So I like to integrate these into my war belts. I figured I would integrate it into my belt kit as well. So glove holder right there with some Outdoor Research iron sights. And then another Spiritus small GP pouch. This one is going to mostly center around carrying my thermal defeating capabilities as well as my just emergency blanket. So this thing is really cool. This is a non-reflective thermal blanket from Solcoa, and I've had it for many years. I've never had to use it, so I just keep it in its packaging. but it's tan instead of that normal Mylar color, and it's a little bit thicker, so it's a lot more durable. And you know, when it comes to defeating thermal, there's a couple of methods out there that are fairly effective, but the best way to defeat thermal is to just don't be in a battlefield where people are using thermals, right? That's the way I survived being attacked by thermal. So the next one is going to be the, I also believe this is made out of Sulcoa as well. Just a little fire starter, just in case we need to go out there and do caveman stuff, start some fires. Generally inadvisable in a tactical situation, but if you're in a permissible environment, it's nice to have on you. 2 additional magazines here, so now we've got 7 magazines just on the body, on the kit, and then an additional cat tourniquet as well. Now I've struggled because I'd like to have an area on here to stage a cat tourniquet that's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more accessible, and I might just, with this particular rig, might start rolling with one on the body, even though I am loath to do so. I do not like having tourniquets in my pockets. I find it to be uncomfortable and annoying. And then right here, this is a stopgap solution, but it has been working for me. This is a Spiritus spud pouch, which I have sung the praises of many times before. I love the Spiritus spud pouches, and this contains a Prick 152 right here. Now, having a dedicated Prick 152 pouch would be superior. It would be objectively better, but then I wouldn't be able to take the radio out and fill it with magazines like I can with a spud pouch. So I just like that versatility of the spud pouch. So if I'm in a role where I don't have to use a radio, you can go ahead and you can delete the radio and fill this with magazines, and now you've got extra ammo on you. So that's going to be the belt kit right there. Now the belt itself was Carcajou Tactical. I believe that they're a Canadian company, and I got both their belt and their harness here. And then I went ahead and I pouched it up myself just because I'm familiar with the pouches that I've used before, and Carcajou, I've never used their equipment. So I didn't really want to spend $700 buying into the whole ecosystem of Carcajou. Instead, you know, you can do this, you can do a belt kit like this with essentially, I just found a spot for a tourniquet holder, and I hadn't even realized it right here. So probably going to do that. One last little tidbit on the belt itself. So it's in kind of a sustainment roll right now. If I were to scale a plate carrier over the belt, this would flex into more of an assaulter type kit where you can carry additional grenades, you can carry a lot of ammo, you can carry things like breaching equipment and stuff along those lines, and it's still a lot more comfortable to cross-load everything over a belt kit than it is to just try to jam all that stuff onto the plate carrier. Now, when I built the kit, the question arose for me, how am I going to carry a medical kit? So a medical kit could fit on that and then take up an entire portion of space that I already had allocated to other things. So here we go, Spiritus fanny. And we've got a big medical kit right here with everything that you need. We're good to go. Now, I like to wear contacts over my boonie if I'm wearing a boonie, or a baseball cap if I'm wearing a baseball cap, and that integrates in with my communications plan. So Peltor contacts right there, and you gotta have the cool guy boonie. All right, sew it in the front. Make yourself look like Captain Price. It's badass. I have a love-hate relationship with this bag. This is Eberly stock bag. I forget the name of it. It's the same one in Escape from Tarkov. Somebody let me know down in the comments below what the Eberly stock bag is in Tarkov, the main one that they use. And in fact, I was turned on to this bag because of Tarkov. I thought it looked like it had a cool design. It seemed somewhat comparable in quality to Mystery Ranch. But this is the bag, Eberly stock, and it kind of fits an in-between role, in between being a ruck and just your normal day pack, assault pack. This is billed as a 24-hour pack, and as you can see, I've got the thing stretched out to its max. It does come with a soft kind of internal framing right here. It has some little internal poles that come up and give some rigidity to this system, and it's a really cool bag. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice when you look at it is I've got my helmet set up on the outside of the bag, and that's because I really recommend anybody who has to alternate between helmet and boonie or helmet and hat, whatever, do a setup somewhat like this. That way you're not taking up the internal dimensions of your bag by just carrying your helmet. It frees up space for an entire sleep system, for instance. But the way that I did it was I took this bungee, and this is a weapon retention bungee that's affixed to the side of the bag with a chasm buckle, and that goes over and secures the helmet, and it ties in and loops on the other side right here. And then the helmet is actually attached via, you can buy like cheap used H harnesses, or I believe you can even buy OpsCore's buckle kits individually, but this is actually buckled in using the same clips as OpsCore, and when I'm not carrying the helmet on the bag, it doesn't take up anything here on the top. It's just these two little dangly clips. But we've got our helmet right here. I've covered it before. I don't think I've made any changes since I last covered it. I like to keep, oh, I have actually made some changes. I think these Smith optics are new. So for the past couple of months I've been running these on top of the helmet. It's nice to have that extra option in case something happens with your eye protection, whether it gets damaged, dirty, foggy, whatever. You can just swap over to these Smith optics. I think they're like the Boogie Regulator, something like that. So those are pretty cool. Standard OpsCore ballistic helmet. And you may ask, what's this big disgusting yellow thing on the side of his bag? This is permethrin. And you know, if you're worried about the yellow, you can just spray paint these bottles brown if you want. But one of the biggest things I did want to touch on in this video is that people never seem to cover that in the South you need to have permethrin treated clothing if you're going to survive. Especially if you're one of those commandos out there who's, you know, you've got this whole shit hits the fan plan, or you're going to be this lone wolf like surviving out in the wilderness. You're going to die very quickly in the South during the warm months from parasites. They're just going to eat you alive, and then you're going to get infected and you're going to die. So this is permethrin. You can carry it in smaller bottles, but this is a team size bottle. So again, when you're rolling with a team of guys, cross load some of your equipment with each other so that you can spread out that load, and everybody should be carrying something that benefits the team on their kit. So permethrin right here. Another thing I want to cover is going to be leg gaiters. Not so necessary in your dry or rocky environments. Down here in the South, I found increasingly over time they are a very luxurious item to have, even if it's just from combating the tall grass, from the wet tall grass, to getting bugs coming up your feet. One of the first things that comes in contact with surfaces that have things like ticks on them or chiggers is going to be your feet and your ankles. So when you double up from permethrin into utilizing things like gaiters as well, can help keep your ankles dry and parasite free. Also, it's important to bring some cordage. I know some people like to make multiple daisy chains of cords. I just found that having one large daisy chain works better for me. Takes up a little bit less space, is a little bit less work on my part. Also, some cleaning tools in here. So if you have a catastrophic failure of your firearm while you're out in the field, it's nice to have some cleaning tools. So we've got some CLP in there, and we've got a couple ramrods, as well as another wet weather bag. On the opposite side, this isn't a crazy necessity, but it really took up very little space and weight. And this occupies the bag all the time. This is just the Soul Fire Kit, Survive Outdoors Longer. It's a cheap survival kit that my wife got me many moons ago, and I reconstituted into my own thing. So I've got wet wipes in here, I've got Sulcoa, fast fires, I've got tape, I've got, you know, a couple different items in here. And that just generally goes with this bag, whether I'm kitting it out for, you know, no matter what I'm kitting it out for. So the top zips open like a little half clamshell, and right off the bat we've got a Cry SSE bag, sensitive site exploitation bag. So everybody should keep a little SSE bag on them, all right, whether it be actually conducting sensitive site exploitation after you take an objective, or it just be cleaning up trash on the range, picking up things as you go along, or gathering berries if you're a villager from Age of Empires. Whatever the case may be, these little SSE bags are awesome, and they come with a lot of different Cry pouches. So I keep one of those on me. Wet weather bags are essential, especially you know, there's different equipment that you might want to shield from the weather, and these don't take up any space, so I carry an extra wet weather bag right here. This is just some standard outdoor company. You know, I don't mind having the interior of my bag have like colorful stuff like this, and in fact sometimes it's a benefit, because when everything is multicam, when everything is coyote brown, it all starts to kind of blend together, become a little bit more difficult to keep organized. So some civilian wet weather bag right there. Got ourselves a headlamp right here, because if you don't carry a headlamp, then fuck you. No. But got our headlamp right here. I keep it in the bag. This is a fire retardant balaclava that the Marines use in case I want to look cool in a balaclava. Got our Right in the Rain pencil right here. So one of the things about Right in the Rain, and we've got our pad right here as well, is it does get wet, and when it soaks through and you've been marking on it with pens or markers, that can bleed through to the other pages and kind of ruin them. So it's good to have yourself a nice sturdy little mechanical pencil. Also, if you need to John Wick somebody in the eyeball, that is an option too. Probably not something I'll ever be able to do, but we got ourselves a road flare. So road flares are great for signaling and for starting fires in tenacious situations. So again, harkening back to the fact that we are in the southeastern United States, it can be very difficult to start a fire. A road flare can help kind of rectify that for a short period of time. One of the cool things about this Everly stock bag is that it has two integrated mag pouches on the top for quick access. So this brings us up to 9 magazines. And once we expend 2 magazines, if there's a lull in the fighting, you're able to pop open that and you know, go ahead and pop those back into your kit. And then right here we've got some little hedge trimmers. So this is going to be for building up a hide site or an OP, whatever you've got going on. You can veg up that area. You can cut down vegetation away from your OP and help veg up your area a little bit using that. So coming into the side compartment, we'll start on this side right here. In here, got ourselves this is actually ghillie netting. So this is the type of netting that people sew onto ghillie suits using a mixture of shoe glue and sewing in order to go ahead and build out that jute layer. So anybody who's familiar with that knows what this is, but this also counts as can help as just a general veil. And you can also, if you're building a hide site, you can hide the front of your hide site by stretching this across the front of it. So if you're building a fighting position or something like a ranger grave, you can dangle this from the apex of the ranger grave where you would be pulling security, and dangle this in front of you, and you can see out of it, but it's a little bit harder to see in. On the other side pouch right here, I went ahead and loaded a signal flare. So this is a parachute flare right here. So this could be good for multiple different situations. For me, coming from the background of a machine gunner, this can be good for giving people signals to shift or lift fire. And so when there's an assaulting element coming through and they need to go ahead and signal that they're pushing through an area, they can fire the signal flare if they don't have radio contact with the Overwatch team that's providing support by fire, right? And that signal flare can go ahead and notify that team to either shift or lift fire, whatever your protocol is. And then one little Sialoom, really less for tactical use and more for practical uses. So if I'm actually training and I need to leave my bag somewhere, or I set up a small little campsite, I like to dangle a chem light right above my little campsite. Especially with night vision, you can see it from a mile away. That way, if you kind of lose your sight in the woods or something, especially if you're camping from a tactical sense, so you're trying to camp with a low profile, but still be able to find your camp, this can help a lot too. And we'll come into the main compartment of the bag, and that's going to be a quick and dirty. So cool thing about this bag, and part of the reason why I love and hate it, is that it just blows open. You can open the entire bag, just like some of the more boutique rucks that you get from places like REI. You can open the entire thing like a hiking bag, and out come your contents. So in here, we'll start out with an extra change of clothes and a waterproof bag. And that's going to be for if you get completely soaking wet and miserable and you need to change. Now, when it comes to something like a 24-hour operation, that is optional. You might need to get rid of the luxury of being able to change your clothes and supplement it with additional things like ammo, mortar rounds, smoke, etc. But in this case, we have this in a waterproof bag, and we have a couple of toiletry items hidden within as well that can help you stay clean. All right, because nobody wants to die in the woods because they got gingivitis. And then we've got this SOG e-tool. I hate it. I hate it. The only thing I like about the SOG e-tool is the size. It's a little bit smaller than a normal e-tool, but it just feels chintzy. I know SOG is made in China. I'm not a big fan of the SOG e-tool, but when it comes to the context of fitting everything into a bag of this size, this is the size e-tool that you would need. And then we've got our sleep equipment right here. So we've got a Snug Pack Jungle Pack. And again, as the months start to get hotter, this becomes more and more optional. What I do not believe to be optional is your bivy. So we've got our bivy right here as well. Now, when it gets hotter, it can be, you can have a fairly comfortable night just using a bivy. Because the weather is so unpredictable, I don't really want to spend all night sleeping out in the rain. So cover up with a waterproof bivy and you will thrive. And then an emergency shelter right here. This is another what I consider to be a team item. This is a 2-person survival tent. And you can kind of take it or leave it. Not super necessary, but it is a luxury if you need it. And then right here we have a source bladder. All right, I believe that this one is 2 liters. Might even be 3 liters, actually. Source bladder. And this Eberly stock bag has multiple compartments on the inside. I'm somewhat ambivalent about them, but they do come in handy for containing your water bladder. And then, in case you want to get real bougie, you've got a titanium spoon right here. And then, our meals. All right, so this is enough food. This is easily enough food to last you for 3 days, especially when you combine it with the amount of food that's in the belt kit. So you've got easily enough food taken out of the MREs. You don't need anything special. All right, you can take the main meals and you can take some crackers to kind of supplement a little bit and get rid of all the extra stuff within the MREs, and you'll do just fine on your caloric intake. And I've had more than enough calories myself, so I could stand to go a little hungry as it is. And then finally, for mission essential equipment, this is something that's going to go with me no matter what kind of kit that I'm wearing. Always have to bring the night vision. Okay, so can't see in the dark, you're going to get killed by somebody who can see in the dark, right? So that's going to be everything. This is a cavernous subject. There's so much that I haven't covered and so much that I am still learning. So if you want to, chime down in the comments about anything that I may be missing or that you would like to see me test out in the future. But as it stands right now, this is how to become deadly in the Southeast.